In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to completely eliminate the I want to think about it objection in your sales calls. My name is Mike Antiles. I've been a high-ticket closer for the past 2.5 years. Over the course of the past 2.5 years, I have closed just over $5 million in sales, and what this YouTube channel is dedicated towards is teaching you how to do the exact same, how to start making $20, $30, $40+ thousand in commissions every single month. So like I said, in this video, what we're going to be discussing about is how to eliminate the I want to think about objection. And even if what we discuss in this video doesn't help you completely eliminate it, it will make handling that objection much easier, much more efficient, and will just make your life a lot easier and help you make more money as a high-ticket closer. All right, so number one, why is it that I want to discuss preventing the objection as opposed to handling the objection? Well, number one, I have other videos discussing how to handle that objection. But number two, it's going to be much more effective to handle it in the discovery portion of the call. In the front end of the call, it's going to be much more effective, and it's just going to make your life much easier. And again, you're going to make more money if you do it that way. All right, now before I go into the specific scripting and how we're going to prevent the I want to think about it objection, first I want to make sure you understand, where does the I want to think about it objection come from? All right, what it comes from is you didn't build enough urgency at the beginning of the call. You didn't help the prospect understand how important it really is to change their situation today. Maybe you helped them understand that it's important to change their situation, but you didn't help them understand that it's important to change it today as opposed to in a month or in 6 months. All right, so it really comes down to we want to build a ton of urgency throughout our sales call, more specifically in the discovery portion of our sales call. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. All right, so how to stop the I want to think about it objection? It's going to come down to two things. All right, number one is why now questions, and number two is consequence questions. All right, first let's look at why now questions. All right, there's two, right? So essentially what is a why now question? It's pretty much asking the prospect, why change your situation now? Why do it specifically today? Right? Why not do it in a month, in 6 months, in a year, in 5 years? All right? So there's a few different forms of it. One of them is here, right? So you'll say to them, so what is it that actually shifted for you more recently that made you feel like, you know what, something's got to change here, right? And you're not always going to say something's got to change here. You want to plug in whatever their problem is, right? Or was there some kind of line in the sand moment that made you decide, you know what, like I got to change something, right? Something's got to change here. Again, right, plug in change with whatever, you know, something specific to their situation. Right, but we're really helping them imagine, okay, I drew the line in the sand, something has to change, and now they're going to tell you, and more importantly, tell themselves what made them draw the line in the sand, right? What made them feel like, you know what, I've had enough, and my situation has got to change. All right, this one is going to be more powerful than this one. And if you can use the line in the sand, it's more powerful. If you can use it, use it. Sometimes it's not going to be appropriate to use it, so don't push it, right? If you ask them what made you draw a line in the sand and you don't have that kind of rapport with them, or maybe there wasn't really a line in the sand moment, you have to be able to detect it beforehand. Then there's going to be like, there was no line in the sand moment, and then, you know, that's not good, right? That you took 2 steps back instead of 2 steps forward. All right, so that's 2 forms of it. And another one is, let's say they've already told you a little bit more about what their problem is, and you could say to them, like, so it's important for you to make a change here, but like, why now? Like, you could always wait another month or another 6 months. Like, why now? And then they will literally tell you why they can't think about it. They will literally tell you, why do I have to make a decision today? And this one, I'll tell you, I probably use this on 95% of my sales calls. All right, I'm still a high-ticket closer. All right, I still use this on 95% of my sales calls. This is an incredibly, incredibly powerful question. They will literally tell you why they can't wait another month or another 6 months, or whatever timeline you want to give them. Why now? Why not in a week or in another 3 months? Right? They will literally tell you why they have to do this now. And again, when they tell you why they have to do it now, it will create a ton of urgency in their minds. And even at the end of the call, if they want to tell you, I want to think about it, then you can go ahead and remind them of the answer to this question or any of these 2 questions. And that will help it will help you overcome that objection much easier, much faster, and much more efficiently. All right, so that's the why now questions. Now let's take a look at consequence questions. All right, so you have two different types of consequence questions. Or really, you can use them at two different times in the call. One of them is really whenever you want, whenever you feel it's appropriate, right? Whenever the prospect has said to you, okay, here are my problems, and then you can say to them, right? Okay, so it sounds like you may be ready for a change here. Well, what happens if you don't make a change, though? Right, so they're going to agree to this, right? If you know what you're doing, if you do it even a little bit well, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm ready for a change. Well, what happens if you don't make a change? And again, you don't have to say the word change. You can plug in whatever change they actually want to make here. Right? What happens if you don't make a change? Then they will tell you what happens if they don't make a change. Right? Again, it's creating tons and tons of urgency. They will be telling you, and more importantly, telling themselves what happens if they don't make a change. You will help them envision what happens a month, 6 months, a year down the line if their situation stays the same or even gets worse. All right, now something important here. This is just a small thing that it's not what this video is about, but it's important to discuss. Sounds like you may be ready for a change here. Why do we say sounds like you may be ready for a change as opposed to, wow, you're really ready for a change here? When you downplay it, they will upplay it. Sounds like you may be ready for a change here. Oh, yeah, I'm really ready for a change. But if you say to them, oh, wow, sounds like you're really ready for a change here, then you're running the risk of them saying to you, yeah, kind of, like it's important to make a change, but like we'll see. Right? So you always want to downplay it, and then they will upplay it. All right, so that's the first kind of consequence question. This can happen really at any point in the sales call. It will usually come up when you are discovering what their problem is. This will be closer to the beginning of the call, to the beginning of your discovery. And then the other kind of consequence question, and this really should be there on every single call, it should come at the end of your discovery. Once you've helped them build up their dream outcome, help and build it up in detail, right? Let's say you're selling weight loss, right? You help them build up, okay, here's what my life is going to look like if I lose 50 pounds, if I get in good shape. Here's what it's going to look like in 5 years and 10 years. I'm going to be able to play with my grandkids and do all this fun stuff. So you build it up in good detail. And then what you'll say to them, okay, so it's important for you to make a change, but I got to ask, like, what's the likelihood of you being able to insert their dream outcome, play with your grandkids, whatever it may be, if you just keep on eating the way you do right now, or your eating gets worse? Okay, well then what happens at that point? Like what happens if another 2, 3, 4 years go by and you continue to gain weight? Are you willing to settle for that? Bang, and you really, right there, you've created a ton of urgency. Right, you've helped them understand, okay, this is my dream outcome, but this is what happens if I don't take the action needed to change what I'm doing right now. All right, again, that creates a ton of urgency, right? Or if you're selling some kind of biz op coaching, right? Something that's going to help them pretty much make more money, right? So they tell you, okay, I want to make another $10,000 a month because X, Y, and Z, because I'll be able to travel more and take more vacations and I'll be able to buy a bigger house. Gotcha. And so it's it sounds like it's pretty important to make a change, but like what would be the likelihood of you achieving all of that if you just keep on doing exactly what you're doing right now, if you don't start learning how to do drop shipping or whatever it may be? Gotcha. Well then, like what happens if your income just stays the same? Like if you don't make a change at all in another 1 year, 2 years, 5+ years? Like what would happen at that point? Okay, well are you willing to settle for that, brother? Right, and there you go. You've tied it off. You've created a ton of urgency. What happens if I don't make this change here? Right, and I promise you, when you ask these questions in the right way, and you pre-frame these questions properly, like I was just showing you how to do right there, it will number one, show you how important it is for the prospect to change their situation, but more importantly, they will paint a picture in their mind of why it is so important for them to make a change today and not in a week, a month, or a year. And you will paint a picture in their mind, what will my life look like in a year if I don't change? Right? So that you see how we're creating this urgency here. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that video. That's pretty much the bulk of it. If you want to go dive into this in a little bit more depth, you can go ahead and book a call with me in the link in the description of this video. I really make these videos because I find it helpful for me. I'm a high-ticket closer. I close deals every single day, and making these videos really helps me organize my thoughts behind my sales and really makes me a more effective salesperson. But I recently did start working with some people one-on-one. I'm not going to work with anyone. I'm only going to work with you if you're really serious. If you want to go ahead and book a call with me, there's a link in the description of this video. If you like this video, go ahead and click on the like button, click on the little bell, and subscribe. I'll be releasing these videos about once or twice a week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.